You are listening to the Home Service Business Success Show. We have been accelerating the path of success for home service companies since 2011.
Oh, that looks successful. So if I do that, people will think I am.
If something sounds too good to be true, it is. Go back to the basics.
The universe has the way of rewarding consistency over everything else.
SEO is still the foundational, most important thing you can be doing when it comes to digital marketing for your business.
Don't create a game you can't win. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Home Service Business Success Show. It's so great to be back, and today's a super, super special day. I'm your host, Kenny Chapman, along with my co-host, Chris Crew, as always. Chris, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. I've been jonesing for this episode when we laid down a plan for season 2, and I started looking at the people that we were guesting, and I was like, oh, that's going to be a good one right there. So everybody hold on to your seats on this one.
I would agree. And last week I had a recording slotted in my calendar for just you and I getting on, Chris, and recording. And I thought it was the day we were going to do this. And I told Christy, I'm stoked about today. And then I was like, oh, I'm just recording with Chris. I'm just playing. But I've been looking forward to this because today we have a guest. Stephen Christopher is with us from Wit Digital. Stephen and I go way back. Very deep personal relationship, one of the best friends I've ever had in my life, and somebody who has taught me a lot about peace and fulfillment and contentment. And we've had deep spiritual conversations. I won't say, I almost said, I'll promise we won't go there today. I'm not going to promise we won't go there today because I don't know where we're going to go, but we are showing up to talk about growing your business today in the home service space. And Stephen, so great to have you. Thanks for being here, brother.
Likewise, man. I'm pumped. This is going to be fun. Yeah, we definitely shouldn't promise that we won't go there because there's a good chance that at least some of it will get sprinkled in.
I'm not sure if there's been a time that we've been together that it hasn't shown up in some way. So we'll see what happens today. But Chris, you were talking, this season we're kind of breaking things up into sales, marketing, and profitability, and kind of doing some episodes. And when we said, hey, let's have a guest in the marketing section, you said, bingo, let's have Stephen on. Let's jump into what you were thinking there and how we can have some fun today and grow some people's businesses.
Let me just set the stage. Number one, we're going to talk marketing, but more importantly, we're going to talk about life and business and how all of this stuff exists in the same realm. We unfortunately live in a world we think, and I'll say this, I'm really good at compartmentalizing things. Like it's almost like military. I can compartmentalize things in my life. But what I've learned is the less I compartmentalize, the more I allow things to enter into other realms, and they become better because I'll allow other things out of my life to interact with other things. And so that's why I'm excited today because Stephen, you said, before we got on, life and business is all the same thing.
Yep. 100%. Right. And I think that, Stephen, you've been in the direct space of marketing and home service world for 11 years now at WIT. And as we all know, that's marketing years are like dog years in the home service world. Right. So
Quote
basically
that.
You've been around about 110 years in the marketing space for home services. And what are you kind of feeling and seeing as, people are on their heels, people are afraid of AI, people are concerned about the next thing. What are you seeing with your clients and kind of the space that you would want to share with Chris and I and our listeners today and viewers?
Let's start here because this is what we've been talking to a lot of our clients about. Going back to the basics, right? I think we got into this weird space, and COVID probably had a lot to do with it. And even leading up to COVID, a typical average home service company owner started to believe that they would just hire a digital marketing agency, write a check, kind of check out, and that they would just solve all of their lead flow problems. And I don't know where that exactly turned because, 2000, I don't know, 15, 16, 17, that was not the case. If you owned a home service business, you knew that you had to be going out, doing community events, being involved in the community, doing direct mail, doing door knocking, going five houses up, 5 houses down when you did a system replacement. And it's like all of that kind of fell away. And COVID probably had a lot to do with it because it was easy to make money and the phone would just ring. But we're getting back to a point to where you have to do those things again to be successful. And I know it might feel kind of painful, but it just is what it is. And so our clients that are going back and doing those things, sponsoring Little League, going to, sponsoring kid events, whatever it is that you're passionate about or your team is passionate about, being an involved partner and member of the community as a business, you have to be doing it now. And I don't know where this belief got that, the marketing agency solves everything. Our data shows that the marketing agency should be responsible for somewhere around 30 to 35% of your leads.
Let that
Right?
land,
Think about
ladies
that.
and gentlemen. Let
Think
that
about that.
land.
And
Could
so,
I ask you a question, Stephen? Do you think
yeah,
that because I see this a lot, and I'm not knocking the industry because we're seeing it now in another area. For example, a digital marketing company was all focused on lawyers, or a digital marketing company was all focused on doctors, or a fill in the blank. And then they came to the home contracting space and went, oh shit, this is a free landscape. We can go do all
yeah,
kinds of cool stuff because they haven't yet felt the impact of what digital marketing can do. So
yep,
I feel like really good salespeople were the leading introduction to that conversation. Just like we're seeing right now, everybody's a business coach. People that aren't even
yep.
from the industry, all of a sudden are experts in the industry.
Yeah, tell me about it. And everybody's a business coach, and yet they've never run even $1 million business.
Right.
How does that work? It's ridiculous, right? And so it's funny. I was just literally doing a video yesterday about why does SEO take time? And just some of the little snippets that are relevant to this conversation are, when I founded Wit, it was on the tail end of selling another digital marketing agency that I owned. So I had been in marketing or digital marketing agency ownership for like 6 years before I even started Wit. And then Wit, we just went in all like kind of full force on the home service industry. Well, when I started Wit in 2014, there was like maybe 10 agencies in the home service space, 5 or 6 that were actually good. Now there's hundreds.
Wow.
And so how many new contractors are there in the industry too? There used to be a market where there was 100 plumbing companies, now there's like 500. And so the competition has gotten so much bigger and there's so much more noise in the industry, like things are just changing. And people have got to get going back to the basics. SEO is still the foundational most important thing you can be doing when it comes to digital marketing for your business. And maybe that will change in the future and maybe it won't. It likely won't change because now where do you think AI is getting all its information from?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you said that, Stephen, and I'll double down. I was actually in a training last week, where it was an AI training class. I just always want to be educated what's going on. But they were a marketing company talking about how AI is not going to go away. It's only going to enhance marketing. And they doubled down on what you just said, which is SEO is going to be more valuable than it's ever been before because of the way
Yep,
AI crawls the internet.
totally.
And I want to.
And
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, I mean, we're getting a lot of those results for our client in the Google AI overview section, and a lot of it's just doing really good SEO. And funny side note, so many people focus on just Google. We've always focused on all search engines. Now we don't have to put a lot of energy on it, but there's some of the bigger AI companies are pulling a lot of info off of like Bing.
Think about
So
that.
make sure that your agency isn't just paying attention to Google. Make sure you're also paying attention to some of these other search engines because who knows where the data is going to get pulled from.
Absolutely. Yeah. Little company that does quite a bit in AI has a little partnership with a little company that happens to own Bing. And so there's some different things that are going on, right? But I want to tie back to something you just said, Stephen, a minute ago about the noise And I love that phraseology around the space right now in general. I mean, my gosh, we're at the time we're recording this fairly early in a new administration in the US. There's different stuff going on. There's a lot of noise, and I believe that, when there's noise, it's like the distorted radio dial back in the day. I can't really quite hear it. I know what's kind of coming through, but it's not as clear as it could be. And I think that when it comes to marketing or lead flow or execution of implementation in business, the better you can block out the noise and stick to the basics like you're talking about here today, the better results you see. So when you take avatars of clients you have, do you have a feeling of some clients have that ability to focus and stay, as Chris Crew talks about, keeping the main thing, and we're going to stay on this track. And then others, as I know from my contracting days, I know from founding Blue Collar and watching all of our clients over the years, a lot of shiny object syndrome in this space. And it's harder to eliminate noise when there's nonstop noise coming faster than ever. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, look, marketers ruin everything, right? So marketers come in, they create it, they create a problem. Yeah, like they create a problem and then they create a solution for it.
That's right.
And it's kind of like the loudest ones. I mean, look at all the ones on social media that are like, "Oh man, like what are you doing about AI? If you're not all in on AI, you're going to get left behind." Like it's just not true.
Right.
Now, I mean, you have to pay attention to this stuff, but they're totally using scare tactics and fear to get your attention as a sales tactic to have you come over to their agency. And I totally get it, right? It's uncomfortable because you take a home service business owner, they've got they've got culture to deal with, staff to deal with, trucks to deal with, loan payments to deal with, buildings, customers, 5-star reviews on Google. I mean, it's a lot, right? And so they don't have a lot of time to spend learning marketing to know what's real and what's not. So they're sitting up at 10 o'clock at night when the board's not full tomorrow. Like, man, how do I solve this marketing thing? And they're getting fed all this stuff. And then you get into ego and fear and scarcity and all that. And your mind starts going down this path and you start freaking out and then you start believing it. Then you can find information to back it up as true from other fear-based things. So then you're like, well, shit, I guess it's just real. Then you're spiraling on that side too. And so what I would say to people listening is, what is real and what is not real. And so if something sounds too good to be true, it is. Go back to the basics. Stop believing everything that you read and pay attention to the people that you're actually taking advice from. What are they actually doing in their business? Because a lot of these companies that are pitching, AI this and AI that, you look at their business and if you can kind of take a peek behind the curtain, it's like them and two people and they're living in their mom's basement and not even doing good work. And so I don't think that a lot of them are ill intentioned. I think that they also just don't know what works and what doesn't work. So for the owners listening to this, like, this is a time to get back to the basics. We had the whole private equity thing come through. We know what's coming down on the other side of that. Like, some of the big private equity owned firms are starting to struggle culture. They're losing people. I'm watching their 5-star review rating go to 4.7, 4.5, like our competitors for our clients. And so just go back to the basics, get back in the community. Like, stop just sitting in front of your computer looking at spreadsheets, calling your marketing agency going, man, I need more leads. Go back to the time when you were willing to get out in the community a little bit. What are you doing with your existing clients? Like, we're telling $10 million company owners right now that are kind of freaking out. We're like, well, when's the last time you picked up the phone and called 5 of your old clients every day? They're like, I don't even know where to find that. I'm like, cool, do it for 2 weeks and call me back and tell me if it works. They're like, yeah, but that's only going to turn into like 1 lead. I'm like, you only need 1 lead today.
Right.
So try it. Get back involved in the business. Like, go back to what worked before you kind of stop doing all of that. And then get back to the basics of marketing. Really good SEO, really good website, I mean, yes, PPC works. Yes, PPC is kind of astronomically more expensive than it used to be. So you need to have an agency that's truly giving you the number of, cool, cost per lead is going to be $600 for HVAC. Would you like to do it? Can you make it make sense? That's the stuff you should be talking to your agency about. Because we have clients that are paying $600 for an HVAC lead and they're making it work. Because that's just simply the cost of the lead right now, because it's a bidding system. So get back to the basics.
If I'm hearing this correctly, I'm hearing the word endurance.
Totally.
It's enduring all of the things that keep walking in that are new. We were just at Stephen last week. I was at my son. He runs track, and in the track they do these relays, and it's really cool when you're in the stands when you see the pow, and then you see distances close and widen, and every time it hands off, the distance widens and closes. But you have to endure the race. And I watched a kid come from behind and literally smoke everybody on the fourth leg because they endured, because of what you just said. And I think everybody needs to hear what he's talking about is when he says go to the basics, they're not sexy though, Stephen. I need to chase something new.
I was just going to say, then that's your decision as an entrepreneur, and it's just not going to be a good one.
And
do you want to win? Yeah. Do you want to win, or do you want to do something magic and different that just doesn't actually exist?
Right. And because it all shakes out. And I think, I want to tie to two things really quick. One is when you said you're going to find what you're looking for. There's no question. Everybody knows how much I study the human brain and how it works and all. You will find the evidence to support it. I happen to believe we have never been alive at a better time than right now. I believe that, and you can't change my mind on that. And I've got all kinds of data and all kinds of belief that support that belief. I can take person number 2 and they're like, oh my God, the sky's falling. We're about to die. Every global warming is going to kill us all in the next 3 months. And you can find all of the supporting information for that. And so to your point, Chris, of endurance, and Stephen, when you're talking about, back in the community and playing we're talking about an overall marketing plan, an overall strategy, which ties back to vision, which ties back to who do you want to be, which ties back to why you have a business or why you're an operator or why you're a leader in this space anyway. And it reminds me of why, I wrote a 25-year plan at Blue Collar in 2020. It takes us through 2045. That's a long game. We've got plenty of time. We're going to go through ups. We're going to go through downs. We're going to go through however many administrations, however many recessions, however many technology. And that gives us the space to go long and steady and consistency. And the universe has the way of rewarding consistency over everything else. And I want you to hear that again, ladies and gentlemen. The universe has a way of rewarding consistency over everything else. How you eat, how you work out, how you live, how you treat your spouse, how you work with money. It's about consistency. And we had this run of valuations that accelerated dramatically and drastically and like we had never seen before. And what it almost did, it reminds me of when I was in the Army and you talk to somebody who was a lifer, and they might be on a 10-year hitch, but they know in their head they're going to renew. They know they're going to re-enlist when it comes up, and they'll make a deal with the government. They're going to re-enlist. But what happened during the PE run here that we're coming off of, it was almost like I joined the military for 3 years, but it was almost like I got a window where I might be able to get out in 18 months. And I would have gotten excited. I would have been like, hey, wait, okay, I don't want to do my full hitch here. And all of a sudden, some people started getting like short time syndrome. And now all that's gone. And I'm not saying nobody's buying and always valuable businesses will always be sellable. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is getting back to, what if you're playing a long game and this is just the landscape right now? This is just the season that you're in. This is just the chapter of operating. And when you lean in with people like Stephen, who spends probably as much time at WIT helping clients unpack the fear and the scarcity mindset as you do implementing strategy and lead flow to keep your mind right and continue to elevate. So I'll step down here off of my little soapbox of longevity, but I believe that playing a long game really helps keep the mind right anyway. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, here's how I'll comment on that. We got into this weird space where we can have everything now. Call it the Amazon era or whatever, right? And
Mm,
all where did we get the idea that business should be the same way? That we
mm,
should be able to grow a company from 0 to 10 million in 3 years.
yeah.
And look, I totally get it. It does happen multiple times in a lot of markets. And if you went and watched that operator, they are running circles around whatever you're doing. And a lot of people are still expecting to like,
That
oh
is
no, like, well,
true.
he did it. He grew from 0 to 10 million. I should be able to do it. But if you looked at the consistency and the routines, that
Mm,
guy or girl they're dedicated to like 6 hours of amazing sleep a night. They're probably working out. They are dialed in when it comes to work. If the board is slow one day, they are on the phone calling old clients. They are calling everybody they know. They are door knocking. Like they're committed to that above anything else, and they will make it happen. So you can't compare yourself to somebody like that
mm.
and then go and beat yourself up that it's not happening. Now, if you want to do that, cool, go find somebody that's done it and do whatever they did. Everybody needs to figure out what's important to them. And this is where we got lost with the coaching thing and how it's blown up in the last 5 years and everybody's a coach. They have played on the human psychology of fear and missing out and comparison.
Mm,
And very few people are taking time to figure out what's actually important to them and then building that business around them.
Mm.
That's probably the biggest issue that I see. And so, Kenny, to your point, I spend probably 3 to 5 times as much doing emotional consulting and mindset coaching for our clients than even the marketing. The marketing stuff is easy. It's black or white. I
right,
mean, there's only 3 or 4 levers that we can actually pull to
right,
get better results faster, and we're always going to do that. And so most of the time is talking to the person about what do you actually want? You say you want a
right.
$10 million company, but I'm watching you sleep in, go to the bar at 3 o'clock, bitch and moan with your
Yeah,
friends, call the agency and say, oh man, we need more leads. I'm like, just be honest with yourself. If you want to live a half lifestyle of entrepreneurship, go all in on it.
that's fine.
And your
Yeah.
company will probably actually do better. Your team will respect you because you're actually doing what it is that you said you want to do. So, get honest with yourself and be really cautious about who you're taking advice from. If the person you're taking advice from hasn't done what they are coaching you to do, or maybe they've done it on the business side, but they've been divorced 3 times, their kids hate them, like, you've gotta look at the whole person that you're taking advice from. Because there's a lot of people that have grown 20, $30 million companies, but if you look at the rest of their life, I'm like, I want nothing to do with that.
There's a little
Mm.
baggage. So
Here you
true.
go. So
So
the
good.
old saying is never judge a book by its cover. And the crazy thing, because to your point, we have access to information like this. I can see things of that person. I go, I want to mirror and image that. But something Kenny has said a lot, and man, it resonates with me so much. Even if the covers are similar, the challenge is we live in a we want to compare ourselves to stuff to kind of get the gauge. Oh, that looks successful. So if I do that, people will think I am. And Kenny says this: you can't compare yourself to other people because in many cases, you're comparing their chapter 20 of their book to your chapter 3.
I love that.
I said forever, a long time I would say that comparison mindset's the most dangerous mindset in the world. Then the more I study the brain, I realize it's just how the brain works. It's going to compare. It's part of how we make decisions and how we process information. So then I go, well, then I better be really cautious and really careful and choose what I'm comparing to, which is why my conscious intention is to only compare to a previous version of myself. And to Stephen's point, setting intention about the business. So, I set the overall vision of Blue Collar as a co-founder with Christy, and now Chris was responsible for the vision moving forward and making it go. And I always continue to remind Chris, you create the game, don't create a game you can't win. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Stephen, is if I look and go, well, there's a $20 million operator. I want to go create that game, but I want to be at my kid's soccer game. I don't want to have a big team. I don't want to take much risk or debt or leverage. Well, hang on, wait. Now that's where the noise comes in. And you're not setting yourself up for the game that you really want to play and getting back to the basics of business, back to the basics of what is success to you? What does that really look like? How does that feel? And we just had this run of like, oh my gosh, if you're not 20 million, then you suck in business. We have incredibly rich blue collar operators on every level that are part of the success group that are running $4-5 million companies, double digit profit, have great family lives, enjoy their time. They've got investments going. Let's get back to what really works, and marketing's a flow to that. And thank you for being so transparent and honest with, you're going to flip the levers, but then you got to manage the human. And that's where we kind of can mess up marketing is by the human getting involved, right?
I want to share this because you just said something really powerful, Kenny, and then it doubles down to what Stephen said. Joe Ware said to me, I'll never forget, I was working with him at HVAC company in New Egypt, New Jersey. And they're about a $4 million HVAC business, 20+% net profit. And I was like, Joe, we can do this to grow your business and this and this and this and this. And man, this thing is a $15 million. He stopped me. He said, Chris, let me ask you a question real quick. He said, what do you think comes with a $15 million business? I said, I don't know. He said, $15 million problems. And Chris, right now, I'm a $4 million business. And if you look, I pay myself really well. And we're producing consistently 20+% net profit every year. I don't need all that. And I was blunt. It was at that moment where I recognized, Stephen, what you just said, which is find the life you want to live and then build the business around that.
Yep. Well, and as a byproduct, what always happens? The business will explode. You're going to just magically make way more money anyway. And so it's like, yeah, be happy, run a good business, stop worrying as much, and magic will happen. And everybody's different, right? Like businesses ebb and flow. I mean, we look at WIT, like the farthest out we do visions for right now, and even in my personal life, is 2 years. Kenny's got his 25-year plan. I'm like, I can see about 2 years, and that's it. And I've just learned that about myself, and that's what I focus on. But I learned that through trial and error. I wrote 25-year plans, 15-year plans, no year plans, and that's just one that ended up working for me. But I tested it and learned it. And next year, it might change. That's what I think so many people forget is like, it might change next year. You might want a $4 million business this year. Businesses are living entities, right? I ask WIT what it wants every couple years, and that changes. Some years it would say, I'm just happy. I just want to kind of roll. The staff is happy. The culture is happy. Profit's good. And then like, I'll ask it another year, like last year, I said, cool. Like I sat and meditated and I said, what do you want? And it was like, oh, I want to grow.
Let's go.
And we're like, cool. So we're just kind of supporting that thing that it wants, that direction it wants to go. And it's, we're doing it. I mean, the year has started off unbelievable. Not even more energy or effort. It's just, that's what it wanted to do. And so we kind of got out of the way and let it do it.
Wow.
That's so good.
Kenny, you and I talk a lot about this setting intentions. And when we set intentions, the world responds on our behalf. The universe conspires on our behalf to make our intentions become reality. And when it attracts people to our life that we need to be in, and it repels people and things in our life that we no longer need. Right. And so I love that, Stephen. Thank you so much for sharing a 2-year, but more important, it could change. And I think that's the world we live in, where people they start to doubt now. Like, hang on, wait, I thought you said you want. I've changed my mind.
That's right. Yep.
I was gonna say the number one, if people ask, they're like, well, what's the most important thing I should do or read? The most important thing anybody should do is learn who you are.
because then you'll know
Stop
what to
trying to
do.
figure out. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Stop wasting all this time. Look, recovering professional development addict, right? I mean, me and Kenny go way back on it. I was to every seminar, every Tony Robbins
Yeah.
thing. I mean, if there's a personal development book or professional development book, trust me, I read it for like a decade. And then I started to get more into like the quote, whatever you want to call it, the spirituality side. And it was like, oh yeah, just learn who you are. Then you can make really good decisions and you can be led by the universe towards whatever your intention is. And that's the most important thing that I think people should start paying attention to is like learn to hear your own self and what feels use your emotions as a guide. What feels good and what doesn't.
Mm.
Stop listening to the people that even though they made 30 million, when you listen to it, you're like, none of this feels good to me. Cool. That's just not your teacher. Might be perfect for somebody else, but not for you. What feels good? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we love blue collar. We come to blue collar events because it feels good. Like it's our people.
Well, thank you for that, and we love our partnership with you guys, and I one of the things that I've just been beating into my own head, and anybody that'll listen, is just walk in your own two shoes. And I think for our operators that are on the line and going, okay, guys, this is great, but I'd still need leads today, and we're not minimizing that reality, but I want you to realize that who you align with in order to get leads, because there's always, one of the things that I said for years at Blue Collar, and now I know our coaches kind of mirror back, and Chris, you and I talk about it. What's the question behind the question? Anytime somebody asks like, "Oh, I want this," or "I think I," let's drop below that. And so when I say, well, I want more leads, well, that's not really what you want. Number one, we know you want to feel different is what you want. And so more leads is a an illusion that will get you closer to that feeling. And that's fine. We need leads in business. I'm not minimizing that. But what I really want is to feel more successful, to be proud of who I am, to get up with purpose every day, to not have the 4 o'clock crash, whatever those things are. Right. And so I think going back to, yes, my marketing plan will be based on who I am. And how I want to operate. And I think that marketing is, because of the internet and because of multi-market operators now, and because of the ability to compare so many different directions, there's a narrative, which one of the reasons I'm really proud of Blue Collar is, we help small operators and we help larger operators. And we really focus on you being who you are and meeting you where you are. And there's a narrative kind of in the industry, and I'll call it the mass hypnosis of what success looks like right now. And it's 10, 20, 30 million. If you're not worth 100 million, if you're not doing all, and, and there's almost a belief that if you're a 3, 4, $5 million business, that you're not doing anything right, or you're not successful. And I think that's bullshit. And I just don't want to call it exactly that, because I think that it doesn't have anything to do with money, but money is a necessary component. It's a score keeping device. But I think that how many leads you need sometimes is based on other people. And sometimes it's based on the last event that you went to. And it's the cocktails you drank, and it's the people that you hung out with, and the comparison mindset that you held up a mirror and went, I'm not enough. And when you said, I'm not enough, you said, well, if my business gets bigger, then maybe I'll be enough. And now I'm going to call Whit and go, I need more leads. Come on, now we've got to go, because I'm not enough and I'm feeling it and it's showing up. And so I knew this spiritual stuff was going to show up. I didn't mean for it to, but it just does. But isn't that what you see when an operator's more clear, Stephen, about what they truly want? Can you help them more in that
Yeah,
way at WIT?
totally. And it's one of the things that I'm the most proud about at WIT is like our account managers and our team ask a lot of questions about who are you? Who's your business? Who's your brand? Where do you want to be? What are your real goals? And they'll call out clients, say, okay, cool. You told me your goal is 25 million. You're at 2 right now. And you said 3 years. That's not very realistic based on what I've learned about you and your brand and knowing how marketing works right now. Why don't we set something that's a little bit more realistic, and then we'll work our asses off to overshoot it for you. But like, let's get a good aiming point that you feel good about. And so we've done a good job of coaching our team how to ask those types of questions so that we can actually be impactful, because your brand has a lot to do with our ability to be successful.
That's right.
And, and we do, and this comes up. And so it's a little bit of a detour, but not too much. If you don't have a marketing agency that's paying attention to other things than just the marketing they're doing, like SEO and PPC, if they are not looking in your service titan, if they're not listening to your calls to see not only how good is the quality of the lead that they are providing to you, but looking for opportunities for them to do better and looking for opportunities for you to do better, that's where you're missing the boat, right? Like PPC is a commodity. I mean, we're really good at it, but I mean, there's people that are probably 2% less than us, right? I mean, they're still really good at it, but we're going in and dialing in on these much deeper levels. And that's kind of like the getting back to basics. We've had to do that too. We've had to change the way that we're delivering marketing and how we're working as a partner because of everything else that's changed. During COVID, we could barely even get our clients to talk to us. They're too busy. They're like, man, I don't know, just shut off all the leads. Like, we're too busy. We can't even take anymore. But now it's back to where, cool, now they're listening to us. And now we're listening to hundreds of their phone calls. We're coaching their CSRs. Like, we're giving them those things. Like, I mean, you guys know, we take call recordings and we send them to the blue collar coach. And we're like, hey, you should work with your client on this. Sarah's having some issues in the CSR department. And so, kind of rounding out part of the marketing conversation is, it's not just about SEO and PPC. There's this whole middle ground that nobody pays attention to. Most clients have their service tightened. They assume it's set up right. They assume the data's real. You guys know it's never real. It's never right. There's always this gray area between marketing and what's really coming in. And so make sure your agency is paying attention to those things that are in that gray area to give them real information about how to do better, but also how to work with you as a partner. Like, we do all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with marketing for our clients. Like, we're in every one of our clients' Service Titan accounts every month. We pull our reporting data from your Service Titan so that now we're all looking at the same information. So aside from like being back out in your community and stuff like that, make sure you're working with your agency on a different level. Don't just call them and say, I need leads. Be like, guys, we're partners in this. You tell me what I'm missing, or you tell me what I can do better from my side to support the efforts that you guys are doing as the agency. That's how you find a true marketing partner. And, hey, the interesting part and unfortunate part is, I just found out this week that we're like truly one of the last non-PE or venture capital owned agencies in the industry. Pretty much everybody else has kind of sold. And we're starting to see that same thing happen, where some of this type of love is going away. So it's your responsibility as a client to have these conversations with your account manager. Because even if the agency, now that it's PE owned, is changing, it's still good people. The account managers are still good. The specialists are still good, but you have to understand and meet them where they are. They now have fear about, whatever, their job, and everything's changing. So like, you need to step up your game a little bit to work with them so that they can give you that kind of gray area in the middle that nobody, most agencies are like, no, that's not me, man. I shouldn't look in your Service Titan. You should do that. Well, that's just wrong.
That's what I love about you, man. What I just heard was, Wit's not a transactional marketing company. Like, it's not all about the transaction. It's about the relationship. And so I've always felt this way when I was in business, that everybody that I use in my business, whether it's a distributor or a brand or marketing, I've always felt like they were an extension of my team, so I got to treat them as so, not just write a check
Yeah.
and be like, "Go do your job." Like, imagine if our businesses, all of our frontline team members and managers, what if we just paid them but never interacted with them?
Right?
Right.
Exactly. We
That's
are an
yeah.
employee. You should treat us like one and talk to us. And,
And
we're going to mess up
and I
sometimes. Like it just happens.
That's right. Yeah, and I think, to that transactional it's funny, that's the exact reason that at Blue Collar Success Group, we didn't launch the Elite Buy program until years in. We were, 12 years old or so before we even went there, because we don't want transactional. Because to Stephen, what I'm hearing and what I think as things evolve and shift is that the partnership is going to become stronger, not partners on paper with your strategic alliances of marketing partners, but the transactional of, let me go get that person for this piece and that person for that piece. And that, to your point, I wonder if we're headed back to a holistic relationship world where the data is going to be mined, and all that stuff's great, and it's going to be quicker, faster, and cheaper than it's ever been. But the relationship of the execution and what you said is to feel that love through the process. This is a challenging time for people. There's a lot of change. If by nature we resist change, then by nature we're in pain right now. And there's a lot of uncertainty, and we know we crave certainty and uncertainty at similar doses. And right now the uncertainty, shift is definitely strong. And so as you lean in, and I think it's important, I want to tie back to something that happened earlier in this episode. When I mentioned my 25-year vision, ladies and gentlemen, that's a long-term vision that's written on one page. Then Chris Crew takes and he builds 2 and 3 year visions and plans within Blue Collar, and we have single year budgets and goals, and like all that's chunked down. Kenny's not just saying, "Hey, in 25 years, this is it." I just have a BHAG of what direction I believe that my life will go. And then I drop it, and I don't look at it all the time. I surrender to it, and I'm just in the flow. And if it happens, it happens. And if not, that's great too, because I trust it. And so as we kind of navigate the next year, you look at 2 year plans and what you see. Do you see even going deeper with relationships at WIT with your clients and becoming more partner-ish of, hey, we're aligned with you. And one of the reasons that Blue Collar loves you guys, to Chris's point, is your coaches too. You're not just marketing, you're helping us be better too. Like our Blue Collar coaches are better because of you. Hopefully you get better results because of our Blue Collar coaches, and then our clients are involved, and there's this whole, ecosystem of growth together. Is that a direction that
Yeah,
this space might be headed?
totally. Same thing that I was talking about with clients. Get back involved in your community. It's just, this is our community, right? It's you
Right,
guys, it's home service companies. So, we're
right.
not physically getting more involved in like Denver. We're physically getting more involved in the home service space and individually working with them and working with, guys like you. So yeah, we're doing the same thing. I mean, we joke, we call our account managers emotional consultants
Right,
because that's a
right.
majority of what they do. They're talking people off the ledge when they're freaking out that they don't have enough jobs on the board one day. They jump into Service Titan and then they find out, well, cool, you had 30 cancellations in the last 15 days. Who's calling them back? Hey, did you know that in the middle of the day, half of your calls go to voicemail? You're understaffed. Stop sending all your CSRs to lunch at the same time. We it's very rare that a company truly has a lead problem, like a lead flow problem. And don't get me wrong, like we're going to work our ass off all the time to generate as many leads as possible. But when the phone call comes in about I need more leads, it's almost never about needing more leads. And so that's where we come in, as I feel like something very special and something I'm proud of is we help find those issues while we're also doing the SEO and the PPC and the LSA and the programmatic and all of that other stuff to grow the business. And that's just where I think I don't know. I have not yet seen another agency that's willing to do that. And I mean, you guys know us. I spend probably half of my week, or at least 25% of my week, talking to potential customers that are not a fit for us, but I'll spend an hour on the phone with them, going through their service titan, talking to them about ideas. Because often what we find, a year and a half later, they come back as a client because they listened to what we said, they implemented it, tied it with stuff like that you guys are teaching them, and they grew because of it. And now they're an ideal client. So yeah, it's totally a partnership, giving back. Like, we're all in this together, right? I mean, if home service companies are struggling, we're struggling. And so we want to help fix a lot of that, because there is massive amounts of opportunity right now, and a lot of people just don't see it because it's a little scary.
Yeah.
Let that land. Massive opportunities right now. A lot of people don't see it. That's open your field, pay attention. I'm so blessed to be surrounded by givers, and I want to always have givers in my life. And Stephen Christopher is one of the biggest givers that I've ever met, and somebody that I'm so grateful to have in a personal board realm for me in my life. And we have incredible synergy. And then when Chris came along, and I got the ability to introduce you two, and then you guys just have great synergy. And now your partner, Andrew, coming into your company, and it's just this great mix. And it all started on a night in Bourbon Street together for you and
Yeah,
I.
man.
I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. And so, I'm just so grateful. And Chris, you got anything as we wrap up here? And Stephen, we'll let you share any final thoughts, and we'll get everybody out of here. Thank you all so much.
So I heard two things today in this. I like to sit and observe. I'm usually a big talker, and I like to observe when I have people around me. I heard endurance, and then I heard this: relationships over revenue. Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stephen, any parting thoughts?
Oh man, life doesn't have to be stressful, even when stressful things are happening around us. And if that's it, I get it that it's not always easy to walk through life that way, but the more you can practice that, the better your life will be, the more profitable your business will be. Magic will just happen. So if you're freaking out right now, you got to do something about that, because the world is not going to change until you figure that out. I don't know, meditate, take a vacation, pet your dog, like just get a little less stress in your life and know that things are going to be okay. And then they will start to be okay.
Heck yeah.
Boom. We're going to drop the mic with that right there. Stephen Christopher from WIT Digital, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us, Stephen. On behalf of Chris, Home Service Business Success. Till we talk, ladies and gentlemen, make it a better than fantastic week. We'll see you on the show soon.